I had a strange night. I was playing in a place called Port Maddox. I knew nothing about UFOs, I didn't believe in them. I had no idea of anything at all. And if anybody mentioned UFOs to me or aliens, I would have said they were completely crackers and needed a psychiatrist. I am a skeptic, and I've asked myself every question under the sun to see if I can figure out a way of making this not true for me, because I don't want this to be true. I don't want to be a nut who's been abducted. I don't, but I have. I'll go back to the night that I had the download, which I call a download. This is in the book. The book's got a lot of information in. I can't give it in the time I've got. I'm having to bring this down to the bare minimum. I came over the Newsroom mountain after coming back from work at Port Maddox about 2 o'clock in the morning. I saw what looked like a fried egg, orange, coming over the mountain, coming towards me. It was following the contours of the ground. It didn't seem to be solid metal or anything like it. It was orange, like a jelly substance. It came over my car, and I got, at the time I was using an old Volvo, which had a long bonnet on it, dark blue. And I saw the orange spinning on the actual bonnet of the car. I wake up 26 miles later. Me and Joanne went down to actually measure the distance.
We actually just did a field trip so I could see all the major locations where Mike had had his experiences, and he actually thought that part of the journey was only about 6 miles, but we checked it and it was 26 miles, which is phenomenal that he kind of came back.
Well, when I came back, I completely forgot about it. Completely. I got back to my bungalow.
Are you alright?
1, 2, 2. As I got home, I lived in a bungalow at the time. I'd only just moved in. My son was about 4 months old, I think. As I normally did, I put my guitar, I got my guitar out of the car, and I leave my equipment in and put it in the garage. Well, as I turned around with my guitar, in front of me, about 300 foot high, was like what I call a crystal chandelier. It looked like a massive ice cream cone. I know it sounds crazy, but it looked like an ice cream cone in the sky. And I watched this for about 20 minutes. It was flickering. It's illumination from one of the fairs or something, you know, from a fair. I had no idea of UFOs. I didn't look at it as a UFO. I looked at it as an hologram from a fair.
I'm just saying, we've just taken a little bit of footage from the time we spent there. And this will just give you an actual view of the exact location. And sometimes I think that helps you to visualise it if I get out of the way of the screen. So Mike, we finally arrived in Gaboin, and we're actually looking at the very bungalow in which you had your download.
I went to walk in with my guitar and noticed this massive, I don't know what to call it really, ice cream cone. Massive thing in the sky. And I wonder why I've had closed eyes all my life. I can't understand that.
Do you think there might have been something else causing some kind of manipulation, or to keep information from you, perhaps?
I should imagine there's been a lot of information kept from me.
So we're coming to the end of Perry View, this road where you lived, Mike, and we're just coming up to the area where you stopped to get a better look at this incredible thing.
And it was there, where that house is there. I'd say where that tree is, where that bush is. And it was over there. It was massive. It was 300 foot high. It was massive. It was sort of covered the whole of that area there, the bottom of it. And then it got bigger as it went up. It was like a big ice cream cone. And it was jet black. It was completely black. It was a dark night. We're talking 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, and it was pitch black. At that time, the street lighting went off anyway, you know, at midnight or whatever, and it was pitch black. And the only reason I could see it was because it was sparkling. I called it the crystal chandelier. And then, of course, I went into the house thinking, oh, it's some kind of thing from the fair, from a fairground hologram type thing. Well, that was the location near Oswald Street where that happened. When I got back into the house, I completely forgot about that as well, because to me it was just an hologram. I sat down, I rolled myself a cigarette, poured a brandy, which I normally did after a gig, talking 2:30 in the morning now. And I put the TV on, and there was student programs on. And while I was watching these student programs, I was just sort of watching the wall, watching the TV as you do, relaxing after a gig, thinking about the gig, thinking how bad it was or how good it was. And I glanced at the TV and I saw 3, what I now know as alien faces, greys. And as I glanced at the TV, I glanced back at the wall, glanced back at the TV, and then I saw someone lying on what looked like a couch, which looked like me, with 3 greys round them. And my brain just went completely and utterly crazy. I looked at the wall's moving, and I was getting this, like, I can only describe it as a download to a computer into my head. In seconds, I saw my whole life, like I died and it rolled back or something. It's not how I can describe it. I saw my whole life from that day, right the way back to when I was a child. All the memories came back, but one stayed. It just stayed there. It would not leave me. All the memories had come back, but they seemed to be pushed aside. And the one memory stayed, and it was a memory of Abingdon, of something that happened to me in Abingdon. And I'll go through this abduction with you. I was delivering cookers in Southampton. I had a delivery. Remember the times, I'm going to tell you. On Monday morning, I loaded up. I was working for Cannon Gas in Bilston. And I loaded up at 7:30 on Monday morning. Remember the times, Monday morning, 7:30. I went and did Southampton. And on the way back, I thought, well, I've got Evesham the next day. Well, I'll stop at Abingdon. I thought I'll get some chips, coffee. And I pulled up, which is now a golf course, just outside Abingdon. And as I was coming towards the field, I thought I saw a Christmas tree in the field. But when I was close to it, it looked like a Catherine wheel going round. And I took no notice of this at all. I mean, I thought maybe kids playing. And I started eating my coffee, that went out, stopped, the light went out, that went out. And I was eating my chips, drinking my coffee. And the next thing I see is like lights spotting around the field next to me to my left, and there's a house to my right. We're in the middle of nowhere, but there's a house to the right. As I looked into the field, I saw the spot, and I took no notice of that. I thought it something to do with farmers. And the next thing I see is a triangle of light. And in this triangle of light, there's a cow going up into this triangle of light. And I just looked at it and I took no notice of it. I thought, well, farmers, you know, I'm not a farmer, I don't know what to do. And I was watching this cow up in this triangle, and I thought, well, that's clever. Good there. Pretty good there. Take out your chips, drink your coffee. Good there. Farmers in uniforms. Funny uniforms. Not many big farmers. But they were quite a distance, so I just thought the farmers doing something. I knew nothing about farming, nothing about it. So I think, oh yeah, great. So they're still doing this. And I think, right, feed me coffee, and I'll lit a cigarette. Well, in them days, I used matches. I struck the match. As I struck the match, complete lights, all lights went out completely blank. And I thought, oh good, farmers have gone off, I'm now going to sleep. My radio was fitted underneath the dashboard, on the passenger side, underneath the dashboard. And as I was sitting there, I struck the match, lit the cigarette, and the radio went completely haywire. Squelch. Squelch is something in between channels. You know what it's like a ghost. And I was sitting there and I think, oh, I sort that out. And I was listening to Memories Like the Corners of My Mind, my favourite song. I was listening to it and I thought, oh, that's lovely. I thought I'd better sort the radio out, so I put my feet up on the driver's seat with my head under the dashboard, fiddling with the radio, trying to get it working. And as I got under there, the whole place lit up, everything lit up, completely lit up. And I sort of looked, and the radio was still completely haywire. As I was getting up from the position I was in, I looked out of the window, and through the side window, this left side, and the left side of the front of the screen, there was like a massive kaleidoscope of mirrors, mirrors pointing in every direction, and I could see everything all around me, and everything had got orange by then. Everything was turned orange, and I could see the roof of the house to my right, to my left. Really weird. That went, and as I was coming up, I've got a black, dark glass panel behind me into the back of the van. As I got up, I came in line with the rear view mirror. And as I came in line with the rear view mirror, I saw these greys in the mirror. I thought they were in the back of the van. But what had happened was, I saw them as I came up. And I wasn't looking at the back of the van, I was actually seeing them at the front of the van. And as I moved from that mirror and came to the sitting position where you drive, they were on the screen in front of me, 3 of them. 1, 2, 3, straight on the screen. And as I looked behind them, what I saw was orange light, and I saw like snow. It looked like snow at first. Then the light went orange. I saw some greys, I think blue greys, walking out of the woods in front of me. And behind that, I saw, which Star Trek fans will know this one, tubes of light, white light, coming out of the orange light in 4 tubes, 3 or 4 tubes. As I saw that, I saw snow, like snow, coming down the tube into the tubes. And then this snowy substance turned to like jigsaw puzzle stuff. And then when they hit the deck, they were great. When they hit the bottom of the lights, the tube of light I call it, they were great. Well, as soon as I saw that, the next thing I know, the greys that were, the faces were near enough on the screen like that in front of me. Can you imagine? But you know what cling film's like? The screen went like cling film. The middle one, his face came straight directly on mine with this cling film stuff that was the window turning into cling film. Put my face like that. Then the other one that side moved to that side, and the other one that side moved to that side. And the next thing I know, I'm going straight through the window screen, and I'm going up into the lights. I'm in between these shafts of white light, and the greys are all around me, and I'm going up into the ship like that. Next thing I know, I'm floating, standing up like I am now, floating, and I can't move my head. My head's just stiff like that. I can't move it that way, can't move it that way. And I'm going into the ship. And as I go into the ship, just out the corner of this eye, I didn't see anything to my right, but out the corner of my eye, I saw like tiers of jail cells, about 4, 5, 6, I can't see how many. Behind me, in front of me, there was a door, like a doorway, like an archway. Through this archway, I could see on a big slab on the table or whatever, the cow, and these greys around the cow. Now they were lifting their hands like this, and as they were doing that, the cow moved, and then they went like that, they went out the ship, and I knew it was dead. I don't know how I knew it, I knew it was dead. And I thought, shit on next, excuse the language. But I said a lot more than that at the time. You know, I'm going to die. And this grey came over to me, and he put his hand on my chest like that, and he had either 4 fingers or 3 fingers and a thumb. But he only had 4 digits, not 4 like we've got. And he put his hand there, and he said mentally, you're human. And then the next thing I know, sounds crazy, there's a girl on top of me. Then the next thing, I feel a burning sensation up my nose up here. Then I feel a sensation, not burning, but a sensation in my ear. Then the next thing I know, I've got a drill coming towards my eye. And I don't remember anything else after that. Next thing I know, I'm in another room now. I don't know how I got there. I don't know how I moved around here. I was in another room, and there's like a video screen like that. but come from nowhere in the middle of the room. And I was the only one in the room. It was a big room, probably as big as this. But I was on my own, and a big screen came up. And it showed me a wall, it showed me a baby being born. But that's all I remember of that. Next thing I know, I'm in another room, and there's a girl, an Asian blonde, I sounds crazy, an Asian blonde girl. She's sitting sort of where that chair is now, with a round window. And we were at the bottom of the sea. And I could see perfectly through that window, but there was no glass in it. And she was sitting there, and I was sitting here, and the window was in between us. And as I looked, you know when you get a cup, and you overfill it, and you can see the water over the top of the cup, and it's not coming out. That's exactly what the window looked like. It looked like there was no glass, but you could slightly see the water just coming slightly out. Once that happened, the girl started talking to me, once I'd seen this. And I asked her if we were at the bottom of the sea or the river, and she told me the sea. And I could see perfectly, but it was green. Everything was green that I could see out of this window, but it was light. Now at the bottom of the sea is pitch dark, as we all know. I believe that the technology I used in the army with night vision equipment was exactly the same. It looked exactly the same. The same green, the same like snowy effect. Exactly the same as we used for the night sights when I was in Northern Ireland and places like that. So I believe that technology has come from them that we have for the night sights. I believe that a lot of technology came from Roswell, from the crash here. As I was coming out of the ship, it was very strange. My mother had always seen the Betty and Barney Hill case. Now I didn't believe in aliens. Me and my mother used to argue about it. I used to say, Mother, there's no such thing as aliens, you're random twist. You know, that's what I was like. Anybody believed in aliens, I thought they were completely and utterly bonkers, really did. But she saw the Betty and Barney Hill case, and she always used to say, I love to be abducted, I love to be abducted. As I was leaving, the girl said something to me, and I said, no, I've got a wife and family, I've got a mother. I wonder where I am. I don't remember what she asked me, but I remember the reply. And as I was coming out of the ship, I floated down back towards my van. And as I was coming out of the ship, she was next to me, floating down. And I thought to myself, you wait till I tell my mother this. And then straight away, I thought, tell her what? I remember forgetting. And then I thought, you wait till I tell my wife about this. And straight away, I thought, tell her what? And it had gone completely. I ended up back at the side of the van, next to the driver's door. And in my mind, I believed I got out for a pee. I hadn't, but I thought, that's what I thought. Because your brain makes things up, you know. If you can't understand what's going on, your brain will make anything. Anything. It will just make it up as you go along. That's happened to me a lot of times during this stuff that's gone on during my life. And as I walked around the back of the side of the van, the cow was around the back of the van. Because I thought I was going out for a pee. I thought I needed one. I didn't actually. But I went out to the side of the van, and the cow was there with their bits cut off in them. Mouth was missing here, there was a piece missing out of there, the anus was gone, the teeth in it was there, was gone, everything was gone. As I looked across the field, the night before I got for a pee, was a base, and as I noticed that I thought I was looking at Abingdon. This thing was that big, I thought, on the night, I saw all it looked like Abingdon with lights all over the place, like massive, I mean, talking miles big. And Abingdon had gone. It wasn't Abingdon, it was a bloody ship. I mean, this thing was massive, you're talking miles. It looked like a city. I thought, yeah, right. And I saw the care, and I completely forgot about this. I completely forgot I'd met these things. I'd gone completely out of it. And I thought, they're going to blame me for that care. So I got in my van and I went onto the main road. But as I was going onto the main road, going towards Evesham, as you can imagine, I'd done Southampton, and I was on my way to Evesham. This is Monday. Remember Monday morning I started at 7:30. Now I believe this day is Tuesday. I believe it is. So I'm driving along and I see somebody coming towards me in a van exactly the same as I'm driving, looking exactly like me, but I'm on the opposite side of the van. I'm like, oh, that's strange, looks like me. I go and deliver the issue. I think, there you are, that's done. I get back about 2:30 to Canada Dustin. I walk in and the foreman, where's the cookers? I said, I'll deliver them. He said, you couldn't do them. I said, of course I've done it. I've delivered them. There's my night egg. I said, what night egg? I said, night egg, 15 quid. Night egg. I said, you're trying to stop me paying your night egg? So I'm not trying to stop you paying your night. I want to know what you're doing with the cookers. And I said, I've delivered them. He said, you couldn't do them. You only left this morning. I said, no. I left yesterday morning. I said, you're trying to get out and pay me this morning. That's all I could think about. You're trying to get out and pay me this morning. They paid me in the end, they just give it to me. But he said, hang on, what are you doing with the cookers? I said, well, I've delivered them. I've done both. Southampton. Couldn't, in 7 hours, you cannot get to Southampton and do that and get to Yorkshire. It's impossible. He said, right. And he went into another office. He picked the phone up, he looked at me, he came back, he said, you've got your brother working for you. He said, he's still delivering them now. When I got home, I found out that I've been sunburnt on that side of my body, which is impossible as a driver, you get sunburnt that side. Anybody who drives knows that. I was sunburnt that side, completely. Red, sunburnt. And they say, you've got your brother delivering. It's your brother working for you. I said, my brother didn't say, well, he can't do it. So anyway, I got home and I think, oh, you know, forget about it, crazy, forget about it. I get home, my wife's ready to go with her sister. And I said, oh, you good now? She said, yeah, you're supposed to be staying out tonight. I said, I stayed out last night. You only left this morning, she said. I said, you're as crazy as they were. Incredible. I just really find it hard to believe myself, you know. Anyway, she goes out, before she goes out, I go to the bathroom and I have a problem with sinus problems and I always clear my nose out with warm water. And I go to the bathroom and I put warm water up my nose and it's full of pollen and whatever it is in my nose, right, you know. Next thing I know, I go up into an handkerchief and my nose started pouring with blood. And it's like tiny, it was like a 2-2 bullet, but smaller. It was smaller than a 2-2 bullet. Not much smaller, but smaller than a 2 bullet. And it was up there, right up under, where the nose is there, right up, way up underneath. And it came out, and I looked at it, it was covered in hair, like dark, black hair. I said to the wife, I said, look at this. She said, what is it? I said, well, it looks like a 2-2 bullet. And she said, could you look shot up the nose in Northern Ireland? I said, well, I could have done. I said, well, I think it might have done some brain damage and took the top of my head off. You know. What else would you say though? So I put this thing on my shaving mirror, in the bathroom, I'll go on the shave. I thought, I'll look at that tomorrow. Weird, right? So the next thing I know, I've got something that looks rather strange with 4 prongs coming off it, coming out my mouth. And I thought it was an old filling. I had a filling once when I was in the army, only one. And I thought the filling had fell out, because I'd never seen a filling, I didn't know what they looked like. And I went to the dentist, so I got a dental appointment, and I said, I think the filling's fell out. And he said, no, it hasn't. She said, Bruce drilled your tooth next to the filling. I said, well, I haven't been doing the dentist for a year, and I've not had any dental work done for years, you know. I think you've got 2 laser holes drilled through the tooth next to the filling. Laser holes. He said, have you been to America? No. He said, we ain't got that yet, right? The rest of the abductions started coming back slowly, gradually, over the years. It took me 20 years to believe me. So if anybody don't believe me, join the club. It took me 20 years to believe me. And I only believed myself by doing all the studies, by going back over my life and finding everybody and asking them questions. Everybody that could even, you know, and I found out. By the time I've done this for nearly 19 years, studying this, myself, friends, family, most of them were dead anyway. I come to the conclusion, this is correct and this is real, and I still don't want to believe it. I still don't want to believe this. I don't want to be one of these people standing up here, standing up in abductions. I really don't, you know. But I think I've got to say something. About 18 months ago, I had a very bad heart attack. I was already disabled. I was already ready to pay. I had 20 heart attacks in a week. Unbelievable. And I thought, this is it, I'm going to die. And I saw Joanne on TV, lovely Joanne on TV. And she seemed to be very interested in what she was talking about, someone about, I caught the last 10 minutes of it. And I thought, I'm on my way out, you know, I think I've got to tell people about this before I die. And so I found Joanna, I said, fancy a chat, and we chatted. And after a couple of chats, we chatted a few times, didn't we? And she said,
Hello, my name is Ben Lovegrove, and this video is a reproduction of the press release for 44, a book based on an ex-soldier's true story of lifelong encounters involving alien abduction. This astonishing, must-read first book from Joanna Summerscales, founder of the ET Newsroom, a UK experiencer, ET contactee support project, and experiencer Bill Brooks, an ex-soldier and musician whose story, here related, is as mind-blowing as it is disquieting. Bill's account is all the more fascinating because he didn't believe in things extraterrestrial, paranormal, or UFO related until aged 44, when all hell broke loose. What emerged in 1994 was a sudden download, a torrent of memories and information which, without warning, unpacked into Bill's mind in the early hours one morning as he sat reflecting on the gig he'd just done. The download, similar to what people might know as an NDE, near-death experience, showed events to which he had been completely unconscious of until that moment. It seems that from a small child, Bill had been taken by ET all his life. Then there was his time in the army. The military had a hand in at least one incident involving a mass abduction event he was part of as a new soldier in 1968. As well as being subjected to an MK Ultra-like mind control experiment in Porton Down, UK, his German nuclear base in Senelager was shared, he was told, with Area 51 personnel. But in 1968, no one knew what that was or realised what it might mean. The Nordic Contact Event. In 1960, lying in a crop of corn, 10-year-old Bill observed two 8-foot spheres spinning around one another above him. He stood up to find himself standing in a crop circle as they disappeared. A family of 4 Nordic-type people approached him, 2 adults, 2 children, taking him for a ride in their craft, where he is shown the propulsion system and, by the children, how to levitate small spheres with his mind. The Abingdon abduction incident. After the download, the many memories that flooded Bill's mind, with the exception of this one, drained away, until he thought for a time this was his only abduction. Bill lost an entire day and was returned without his wedding ring and silver St. Christopher, with sunburn on the wrong side of his body for a UK driver. After this incident, Bill expelled 2 implants. The bullet-shaped one from his right nostril, and the second seemed to have come from the back of his throat. Bill contacted Joanna under the AMMACH Project banner after a series of heart attacks and strokes he had during a week in 2012. After some unsuccessful attempts to find researchers to help him to come to terms with his incredible story, he decided to try again to reach out to someone else to share his story with, knowing that he might die at any moment with his poor health, and the book is the result of that meeting and collaboration. Joanna Summerscales. Joanna Summerscales' expertise is in the field of alien abduction, the impact it has on well-being, and the long-term implications for humanity. Her initial training was media, theatre and television, though she is also a therapist in quantum healing, which encompasses regression. Joanna founded the AMMACH Project, Anomalous Mind Management Abductee Contactee Helpline, early in 2011, about which a documentary was made in 2013. It is the UK's only official experiencer resource, providing a free helpline number, though her work is international. She offers a non-judgmental, safe platform for experiencers and has filmed testimonies for posterity to promote investigation, study and analysis of the field. This is also to support and dispel the isolation and discrimination that many experiencers feel. Joanna has hosted experiencer conferences and workshops and given presentations on the subject, as well as hosting the UK's only experiencer-orientated radio show. She is now working on developing theatre and television projects based on her work. The AMMACH project was closed in December 2015, but that legacy continues with her renewed and expanded work under the banner of the ET Newsroom. Reviews for 44. An amazingly brave account from a man clearly grappling with the harsh realities of his bizarre life. He has emerged with scars, but also an expanded concept of reality. This is an important document in trying to piece together the connections between ETs, the military, secret societies, and the paranormal. Lewis Dillon. An eye-opening read giving an insight into the veil drawn over the genuine ET subject and the powers that be's involvement in keeping the veil drawn, ridiculing the truth-tellers, and keeping us in the dark. I, for one, was intrigued to read this very powerful book and highly recommend it. Madeline Buchanan. Buy your copy of this book today using the link below this video. For interviews and more information, contact Joanna Summerscales. Mobile 0795 1752 813 or email theetnewsroom@gmail.com. To find out more about the ET Newsroom, please visit theetnewsroom.com. Please give this video a like and share it with others who may be interested in these topics.
Woo!